Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Besides the fact that it's Rocktober and also Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, it's also Dyslexia Awareness Month as well. And that's why I'm very happy to have Abby McNulty here. She's with the Park City Education Foundation. She's the executive director there. And with her, Julie Hastings with the Park City School District. She is the curriculum specialist. Welcome, both of you to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Dyslexia Awareness Month. I'm not sure that people understand how widespread or how enveloping dyslexia is, how many people are affected by it. It's not a small number.
It's not. Statistics say that 1 in 5 students, is that correct?
Wow.
1 in 5 students can be dyslexic.
Oh my goodness. Talk about what dyslexia is, because I think a lot of people really don't even understand it. I think it's probably good to get a baseline here.
Simply stated, dyslexia means that a student can struggle with recognizing words. So when that comes to reading, obviously that causes problems with reading fluently and accurately. Dyslexia is also commonly known for, or I should say, dyslexic students struggle with spelling,
right,
and sometimes handwriting as well.
They can see letters differently than others is sometimes the problem in some cases, right? There's lots of different variants.
There
right?
are, and most likely that's a common misconception. Dyslexic students struggle actually more with sounds.
With sounds?
Than they do with letters.
Oh my, that is a difference.
The sounds that the letters make and the combinations of letters students struggle with.
Wow.
But it is a spectrum, so you can, you can be severely dyslexic or mildly dyslexic or anywhere in between.
People have this so backwards, so to speak. It's amazing. Now that I'm thinking about some of my friends who said I'm dyslexic, and they were switching numbers, and I'm like, yeah, that's not dyslexia, right? I mean, but this is I think when you think about what this causes for someone, a young person, the difficulties that this can cause, that's overwhelming. If you can't read, how are you getting by day to day in class?
It's a huge struggle, and that is the reason why the Park City Education Foundation partnered with the Hall Family Fund and the Park City School District to introduce reading curriculum that would be multisensory and specifically work for dyslexic students or students that might be at risk for reading success. So the big key with dyslexia is early intervention. And so the earlier you identify a student as perhaps having reading challenges, the better off they are in the long run. Because it is a confidence issue. No one wants to struggle with reading. It is, the basic core of everything you do. And so the earliest you can intervene, the best. And this is the importance of the Foundations program, is that it's an approach to reading that's really effective for all kids, but also with dyslexic kids or potentially at-risk readers, and it creates a system to be able to teach them and perhaps not even have struggles, frankly.
Wow, that'd be nice if we can get to that point, certainly. Right? Catch it early and take care of it.
Well, and with the ongoing focus and training that teachers are receiving with this, it creates the opportunity now to problem solve, because teachers are gaining better insight into why the students are struggling. And as Abby said, it's a range. And as a teacher, when you're trying to teach students how to read, and there's a variety of reasons why they might struggle. And until you can figure out why they struggle, it's hard to address it and support.
Right. Now, I mean, I guess the benefit, and you probably know this better than anybody, of curriculums nowadays is they are pretty adaptable, right? You guys seem to be able to adapt to help people who are struggling with some of these other, with an area like dyslexia, right?
Well, the nice thing, Foundations, it's a research-based program. There's plenty of evidence behind it that it works. The struggle is actually implementing it with fidelity and teaching it the way that it's supposed to be taught. So it seems very simple to say, hey, we have this program, it works, don't worry.
Right.
The hard part is getting all teachers the training and the materials and the resources. But we learned last year through a pilot. We just did it at McPolin in the kinder, first and second grades. We learned that it was doable, and the teachers there taught us what they needed to know, and we figured out how to meet their needs, which in turn met the students' needs.
But then again, this would not be possible if not for the help of the Park City Education Foundation.
Exactly. the value of foundations was incredible for teachers, but again, that value came with an expense, which is where the foundation came in.
And now Foundations is throughout Park City's elementary schools in grades K1 and 2. And I've got a child who was in kindergarten last year who was part of the pilot, who was actually swept up and identified as an at-risk reader. In December. She had just turned 5. And so I can speak to the value of the program because we were able to provide early intervention. And she's in 1st grade now and just doing an amazing job. And the support she got through the teachers and through the Foundations program was really incredible.
As a parent, you would have been hard-pressed to, 1, even identify it, but then 2, have the wherewithal to work through it. But with this, you can.
Yeah, and I think the important piece is that teachers themselves are identifying where students have these significant gaps, because that is what this program does. It helps create this common language of what kids know and what they don't know. And so it quickly became obvious that my daughter had a very specific reading issue. And it wasn't just about the pace of her development.
Wow.
Yeah.
For folks that are at home thinking, well, my kid might have dyslexia, 1, I want to know what we should do with them. What's your advice? And then 2, how can other people help with what you're doing with the important work?
I'll say for parents who are concerned their kids have dyslexia, the number 1, I think, indicator is that your kid does not want to go to school. That they're afraid to go to school, that they, just they're not interested in school. That was definitely the case for us, and my niece and nephew are also dyslexic, and it was the case for them as well. So that's just a number 1 indicator to start kind of digging in more deeply. And then the schools are a great resource, and working with your teachers and understanding, what are they getting in school, what aren't they getting in school, what are they, where is the student's challenge, those kinds of things.
All right. Well, very important topic for sure. We want to make sure that every kid has the best opportunity to learn, and without reading, that is going to be so much more trying. So everything we can do to assist them and get on it early, critical. So if you can continue to help Park City Education Foundation by, of course, participating in their event every year, for one thing, but also just simply being an involved parent, that is another side of it for sure. Much more to come here as we wrap up this hour right here on Park City Television.